Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers number 39 from IDW Publishing. We talk about IDW's Last Spot Standing series announcement and discuss the first look at the new Transformers Earthspark series from Nickelodeon. Today is Friday, February 25th, 2022, and this is episode 274 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's happy to have Ireland and Nick Roche produce all future Transformers cartoons. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
The amazing and awesome producer and editor, Mike.
I could get behind a Nick Roche cartoon series. Yeah, why not?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian beast.
I'm sitting here struggling to figure out whether I can do an Irish accent in like a Lucky Charms kind of a deal. And I think that's probably a bad idea. So let's just say, let's talk Transformers.
All right. As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. We really appreciate all the help you give us, and that helps keep the show going. And if you are on the Donatreon this week, you have access to the early version of Empire of Rust episode 70 that came out on Monday, February 21st. And next week, next Monday, the regular episode of Empire of Rust, episode 70, The Wild Strikes Back Again, that will be out on the main Empire of Rust feed on February 28th. So that's transmissionspodcast.com/rust. So everyone will get a chance to listen. Anything you want to tease for this episode coming up, Mike?
Stick with the story arc. You'll get many more Star Wars themed titles throughout the arc. That's
all right.
All I'm going to tease.
We eagerly await the episode that is titled The Eukaryon.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue very well, does it?
the Velocitronian. How about that? How's
that could work. I like that one. Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's jump right into some comics news. Okay, so first up, just there's a new cover for upcoming Beast Wars comic. This is by artist Andy Dugan. It features Waspinator and Nyx facing off in an aerial battle. So that's Beast Wars issue number 15. That will be out in a few months. Issue 13 comes out very soon, and so this will be a couple more months before we get to issue 15. Next up, there is a new announcement for a new comic miniseries that was just announced this week, or I should say last week when this episode comes out. This is The Last Bot Standing. So this is a new miniseries, a new IDW miniseries, before issues, and it goes to the very end of the Transformers War for Cybertron. There's one Transformer left in the entire universe. He or she is the last bot standing. And this story takes place, see what this robot does on another world and how they affect it. So curious to see what this is going to detail. And the interesting thing is that the creative team it's written by Nick Roche, awesome Nick Roche of Last Stand of the Wreckers fame. You may have heard of him. And the art is by E.J. Sue, who did the very first IDW Transformers comic, the Infiltration series. So he did the art on that first series, and now he's doing this. What is one of the books that looks like it's going to be IDW's swan song. So Very interesting. So, I'm curious if this ties into the current IDW continuity, or if it's something different or some alternate storyline. But it does appear to be something that's kind of putting a cap on the end of the Transformers universe. At least in this incarnation. So, looks very interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at this week as well as it came out, and it gives me a kind of a Old Man Logan kind of a feel, and it's interesting. I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but I will make it known that we are aware of another series that's coming out that has not been announced yet, and it is going to encompass the end of the IDW line, but this is going to be a very interesting one too. So they seem to have a few kettles in the fire here for the finale. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I always kind of like these post-apocalyptic kind of stories. As far as Old Man Logan goes, it's in my top 3 stories of comics like ever. So yeah, if they're doing something along that line, I am really in for it. And Nick Roach and EJ Sue as a creative team, yeah, I'm on board.
All right.
I want to see if we will get a Mad Max styled vehicle. I think that would be very cool in like a Transformer Mad Max vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be cool. So Last Spot Standing, this series starts in May of 2022. So just a few months, about 3 months from now. And it will go 4 issues. So that'll be wrapping up in August. So probably around the same time the license will be. Well, I mean, they say I guess they're going to I don't know if they're going to have books out until December, but I guess they've
said
have to
through
see.
the end of the year.
Oh, okay, then there you go. All right. Then that leads us into the solicitations for May of 2022. So all the books coming out. And we've got we've got Transformers number 43, Beast Wars number 16, Transformers War's End number 4, then a Best of Hot Rod one shot, and the Last Bot Standing number 1 that we already talked about. The Best of Hot Rod one shot features books from lots of different eras. We've got one issue of Autocracy. So this is Rise. This is Autocracy number 10. And that's in that Autocracy miniseries that did introduce Hot Rod as a young bot that he was started off as kind of a neutral and then joined up with Optimus Prime and the Autobots. We've got Spotlight Hot Rod. That's the IDW Spotlight from when when the original IDW comic series started. White Fire from Transformers 254 in the UK series. Crucible Part 2, Luster, and that's from Lost Light number 20. So that's a more recent one. War to End All Wars Part 5. That's from Regeneration 1, number 100. And Peace, and this is also from the UK series, the Transformers Annual 1989, the UK series. So, yeah, Hot Rod. This is maybe Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime. This is a collecting, a bunch of Hot Rod stories. So, check it out when it comes out. Okay, that's all our comics news, so we will move on to our comic review. We are reviewing Transformers number 39, Darkness Once Gazed Upon, Part 3. Written by Brian Ruckley, art by Andrew Lee Griffith, colors by John Paul Bove, letters by Nathan Wittick, editor David Marriott, assistant editor Riley Farmer, and supervising editor Tom Waltz. So we've got 3 covers. Cover A is Megatron gripping Cybertron, and the Decepticon blood runs purple. That's by Alex Milne. Cover B is Ultra Magnus versus Megatron by Stefano Simeone. I think that's how you say his name. And then the retail incentive cover is Swindle Seeing a Monster in the Darkness, and that's by Blackie Shepherd with colors by John Paul Bove. So, Daryl, which cover is your favorite of these 3?
You don't even have to ask me, really. I mean, it's cover A, Alex's cover. It's really cool. The way he designed the kind of blood dripping out of the Cybertron, forming the Decepticon logo that Megatron's great. It's the actual design of this cover, just the way it kind of works. The background is all these screaming faces, like the skulls and stuff. Is just it's gorgeous. It's a really great looking cover, and yeah, I was really happy to be able to get this one. So yeah, great cover.
Awesome. Mike, which cover are you picking?
I'm going to disagree with you, Daryl, just a little bit here. I will say that the cover A is really, really nice. But I'm going to go with the RI, the Blackie Shepherd and John Paul cover. I like the kind of light quality happening on Swindle in this one. And yeah, it feels very, very clean, very kind of realistic. I love the little the cracks and chips out from the edges on the other one. There's a lot of really, really cool things happening on here that I really, really enjoy.
All right, and Jeremy, which cover are you picking?
I mean, it's tough. I like all 3 for their own ways. The RI, it's very clean, and like Mike said, the light does some really neat things in it. Cover B, it has a really kind of rough style that really kind of interests me, although I think Ultra Magnus's forearms are a little bit big. It's just, I don't know, that seems odd. But then the cover A is just, it's very, I don't know, just having just a single hand there. It's like, it says a lot with very little. And I like it. And I think that's the one I bought. So that's the one I would pick, but they were all really good in their own right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to also go with cover A, the Alex Milne cover. I really like that image as well. So sorry.
Stand up from the crowd, Charles. You can do it.
No, I'm going with the majority, Mike. Sorry.
Damn.
Again, there are no stakes. You don't win or lose anything.
JP is going to be so pissed with you.
But yeah, I think that's a really great image. I think Alex's art is inspired. Also, I'm just looking at it now. All the the background. It's you miss all the screaming faces and skulls in the background too. That's something that doesn't catch your eye immediately, but then when you look at it longer, it stands out. So very cool image. Okay, let's get into the story. In his illicit club in Iacon, Swindle is not happy to have a bunch of fugitive Autobots on the run asking him for a favor. The Autobots have just rescued Ultra Magnus from the Decepticons and are trying to escape Iacon before they are caught. They just need a bit more of Swindle's help with some extra weapons before they go. Swindle is not a generous bot, and he claims he doesn't have any secret weapons to spare anyway. Chromia isn't buying it. Swindle is a smuggler, and they know he's got a secret arsenal hidden somewhere. Before she can press the issue, the outer wall of the building explodes. Six-Shot and the Decepticon strike team have found them. The Decepticons attack, and during the fighting, Smokescreen is blasted through another wall, right into Swindle's weapons cache. Smokescreen grabs a giant gun or three and does his best Scarface impression to introduce the Decepticons to his little friends. Meanwhile, in the basement below, Headlock, one of Swindle's staff, is quietly sneaking off to avoid the Autobot Decepticon throwdown. He is surprised to find Ruckus, actually the body of Ruckus now possessed by Exarchon, the threefold spark, skulking around looking for something. Headlock doesn't spend much time making conversation and just tells Ruckus he should get while the getting's good, like he is. But Ruckus says he's considering his options. Back at the Iacon Medical Center, Cyclonus is waiting. The ghosts of his dead friends continue to talk to each other and worry about Cyclonus' mental state. Cyclonus ignores them as he sees his friend Provoke exit the medical center. It appears she's made a full recovery, but Cyclonus has some suspicions. Cyclonus greets Provoke by jumping in front of her. Provoke asks what he's doing here and uses his full name, Cyclonus. Cyclonus tells Provoke she used to always call him Psych, never Cyclonus. Provoke blows him off and says he's being obsessive. Cyclonus says Provoke would never claim he was being obsessive because he wanted to watch over her and keep her safe. Provoke responds that she's been through a near-death experience that has changed her a lot, but Cyclonus isn't buying it. Finally, Provoke has had enough. She confirms what Cyclonus already knew. Provoke isn't Provoke. She's Exarchon, the threefold spark. Exarchon in Provoke's body attacks, gloating that she'll take Cyclonus' body over next. But Cyclonus was ready for the attack. He draws his energy sword and activates it so the blade ignites and stabs right through Provoke's/Exarchon's chest. Exarchon is stunned but still on their feet. Another Decepticon guard happens around the corner to investigate all the commotion. Exarchon kills the guard immediately and then turns back to finish Cyclonus. But Cyclonus used the distraction to make his final attack. Cyclonus reaches into Provoke's body and rips the spark out with his bare hands. So one Exarchon host is down, but two others are left in Flatline and Ruckus. Elsewhere, Flatline, also Exarchon, goes to visit his old friend Shockwave. Shockwave is trying to repair Skywarp after he was almost completely destroyed in the last Autobot Decepticon battle. Shockwave tells Flatline to go away and not bother him, but Flatline tells him they have unfinished business together, him, Shockwave, and Skywarp. Shockwave then realizes that his mentor, Exarchon, is back. In Swindles, the Autobots are fighting for their lives against Six-Shot's Decepticons. RC takes a hit to the shoulder, and the Autobots need to make an exit ASAP. Ultra Magnus tells Smokescreen to make smoke to cover their escape. Chromia tells them she'll use the heavy weapons to bring the building down while Smokescreen blasts through the escape tunnel. Six-Shot gets increasingly enraged and orders the Decepticons to crush the Autobots, but Ultra Magnus grabs Six-Shot in his wolf mode and throws him into the other Decepticons, allowing the Autobots time to escape. When the dust settles, the Autobots are gone, and they've managed to collapse the entrance to the escape tunnel behind them. They'll try to make their way back to Crystal City before the Decepticons lay siege to that last Autobot stronghold. At the Iacon Medical Center, Cyclonus kneels by the body of his friend Provoke. Now that she's dead again, her ghost joins his other ghost comrades. Cyclonus smiles because he knows he has a new purpose and reason for living, to destroy Exarchon once and for all. And he knows at least one other bot possessed by that evil, Ruckus. At Swindles, Six-Shot is seething since he lost Ultra Magnus and the Autobots. He tells Swindle this is his final warning. Get with the Decepticon program completely or else. Swindle's associate, Trick Diamond, tries to console Swindle, telling him he's getting off easy under the circumstances. But Swindle is still pretty upset that his place has been completely destroyed. While he surveys the destruction, he looks down into his basement through a recently created hole and sees a dead Ruckus next to an open immersion couch. The same immersion couch that held Deathsaurus, living out his fantasy of murdering Cliffjumper over and over again. Deathsaurus is out, but it's not Deathsaurus anymore. Exarchon has found a new host, and this body is a significant upgrade over Ruckus. As Exarchon flies into the sky over Icon, he gloats that now he'll finally conquer Cybertron once and for all. To be continued. So this was a 3-part story of telling the tale of the Autobots rescuing Ultra Magnus. So this is the final part of that, and then also simultaneously the exposure of Exarchon. So now we have Exarchon in Deathsaurus's body. That seems pretty dangerous, pretty bad. And also Exarchon apparently had Shockwave and Skywarp as his lieutenants in the previous war. So that association was reignited there. So one thing the art for this book was done by our friend Andrew Lee Griffith, and that art was great. It's great to see him back on doing a full book. So that was cool. I think the battles were really well done. It was a fast-paced issue. Lots of stuff happened, and I think it moved the story forward too. And then we got a little bit more of Exarchon and Cyclonus's continuing journey to vanquish the demons of his past, and hopefully that interweaves with the story going forward. So I thought it was a pretty good issue. Mike, what did you think of this issue?
Well, surprising no one, I have mixed opinions as always. The artwork I loved. Andrew Griffith really hit it out of the park, and yeah, this is absolutely beautiful art, and I love every page of it. And yeah, so no complaints about that. This is exactly what I expected and exactly what I wanted. So good. I don't care about this Exarchon story. I don't know how else to put it. I liked it back when it was kind of mentioned early on in the run, where it's like, hey, this is the War of the Threefold Spark. This is something that happened in Cybertron's history. This is something that they all had to work together for, and they learned from and everything. Like when it was a historical event, I liked it and I appreciated it. Now that it's happening again, like it's just coming back, I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. And I think that's it's a little bit me. Like I don't enjoy like retreading storylines that were completed or even completed historically, if that makes sense. I would rather see or rather hear a new story and kind of see the world kind of push forward, rather than treading back on like, hey, here's this unbeatable villain that's, nearly destroyed all Cybertron. Here he is back again. It's like, oh, I don't need this. So, yeah, I'm just, again, not interested in an Exarchon story. I can't explain it any more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Especially, I don't think enough has been done to make Exarchon interesting. Like, this is issue 39 of the series, and we've had bits and pieces of scraps. I mean, we haven't really had. I mean, other than that, it's a big bad that was really bad, and then just a couple issues ago, we got a little bit more details about this whole splitting his spark and infecting other sparks and things. But before that, it was like it felt like it was just a throwaway name to kind of give some context to the previous war and why Cybertron was at peace, but not really much more than that. And it feels like we're getting quickly getting all this stuff dumped on so that we can get a new big bad in the series. So yeah, I mean, it feels a little artificial, I guess.
That's actually a great way of putting it. It feels artificial. It feels forced. Uh, yeah, and I think maybe if they were able to take some time to do maybe like a bit of a history as to like, hey, what was this war about, yada yada yada, and everything, maybe I would feel that a bit more. But yeah, it feels contrived, and it feels like saying, hey, we need a new big bad guy, and guess who it is? It's this big bad guy that was responsible for the last big war. Woo! I have no connection to him. At least with someone like Megatron or Galvatron, you can introduce that character really quickly and have an idea as to what they're about. You don't need to do a huge backstory for them, because we understand the backstory now. Just like Spider-Man, if you put a new Spider-Man movie out, you don't need to retread the origin story anymore. I think most of us are going to understand that's the origin story. And even if we don't, there's plenty of examples of that. This kind of feels like the opposite of that. Like, we don't know who you are, but yet you're introduced to us expecting us to respect you as the big bad guy for the story. And it's just not there for me.
Yep. All right. Daryl, what did you think of this book?
Well, I'll agree with Mike on one thing, that the art was just fantastic. I was pleasantly surprised to see our good friend Andrew back on a book. And it's just, every panel is just very well drawn. And I really enjoyed the visual aspect of this.
Did you see all the Decepticon symbols?
I did.
Not a stamp to be seen.
Not a single stamp. So, yeah, it's something to be said about these pros. They know what they're doing. I want to give a shout out to, I gotta find the credits here. I always forget to go back to the credits. Yeah. I should have known. Our good friend John Paul Bove did the colors, because they are phenomenal. Yes, I wasn't listening at the beginning when you were talking about it, but yeah, the coloring on this book is wonderful. So yeah, the art, the visual aspect, the entire visual aspect of this book is great. Which for me made it a really fun read. The storyline, a lot of action in this book. I really appreciated the action packedness of it. It was a fun read for me. I liked the fact that Six Shot entered the room through the wall. It was that was a nice choice. I liked that Smokescreen found some guns through another wall. Just a great battle altogether with those groups of characters. The threefold spark stuff, I'm kind of also in a bit of an agreement with Mike, although this helped me care for it a little bit, because, obviously Cyclonus had a relationship with Provoke, and this would have been very difficult for Cyclonus to have to do, because even though he would realize that, the mind or spark inside of Provoke's body is not the one that he knew, he still is looking at Provoke. Like, that's still the bot he knew. So killing her, again, is something that would probably be very difficult. Anyway, it you can see that, and that's obviously made very clear that this is re-energized Cyclonus, and anything we've known about Cyclonus as far as his character profile, you really don't want to motivate Cyclonus. So yeah, he is now motivated, and yeah, that's a good thing for the good guys here. Yeah. As far as the Shockwave stuff, we're just getting the beginnings of that storyline. So we'll see where that goes. And the fact that Exarchon has taken over Deathsaurus' body now, I like that. These three fairly unknown or extremely, C, D, E, F level characters that he inhabited were, very uninteresting to me. Ruckus, I know Ruckus has a G1 toy, but I did not care about Ruckus. I care about Deathsaurus. Deathsaurus is cool. Deathsaurus is a big freaking character and tough as nails and is going to be a force to be reckoned with. So now I care about this bad guy a lot more because they're inhabiting a body that is a much more a bigger deal. So yeah, I'm all for it now. If the other bodies get upgrades like this, then we could be in for a really strong finish to this storyline. Maybe Cliffjumper can come back and have some fun with Deathsaurus. I assume Diatlas is still in the universe too, somewhere. I don't know whether the end of IDW means that everybody gets called home to the end here to kind of clean up, but there could be a lot of characters that get brought back to Cybertron here for the end of it all. So we'll see. But the introduction of Deathsaurus, or the reintroduction of Deathsaurus, was a nice surprise for me. I enjoyed that immensely.
All right, and Jeremy, we'll finish up with you. What were your thoughts on this issue?
I have to mirror what everyone said about the art. The art was fantastic. It was great. I mean, the only complaint I can have is normally one of Daryl's complaints. Some of the backgrounds were a little sparse. There was artistic reasons for it in a lot of cases, like they're reacting to a blast or just a big firefight, and you want to see the lasers and stuff and not the backgrounds, but it was noticeable. But just the art was just really good all around. The story, I really enjoyed it. I liked the pacing of it. I'm thinking the end of IDW having the license is going to be good for the pacing of the conclusion of this book, because a lot of the slow burns are either going to have to be cut out or accelerated. And that being my biggest complaint about the writing of the series from the beginning, I think it'll be a great ending to the series. I've been enjoying all the Exarchon stuff. I like the just the idea behind it. A spark that can inhabit three people, and just the ease at which he goes from bot to bot was a little bit surprising to me, but it makes him that much more dangerous. And I was happy with Cyclonus's his bit here, where he got a little bit of redemption and revenge, and I think he's gonna kind of play a detective role in that. He knows what's going on and he knows where the next person to look for is, but as we see, that person is already, like, Exarchon has moved on. So I'm really interesting to see where it goes from there. With the Autobot stuff, I'm getting the impression that Ultra Magnus doesn't really trust Smokescreen with too many weapons, or I guess Chromia doesn't, because she was like asking Bumblebee to take some of the weapons from him, and he seemed very happy to have the guns. And I don't know if I'm reading something into that, but it seemed, I don't know. I really enjoyed all the interactions between the Autobots, especially like Windblade's comments to Bumblebee. It was just some really nice small character moments right after the action. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I like that it was a fast-paced book. And I'm looking forward to reading the next issue. And then this also goes into World's End #1, which we haven't gotten yet. So it's, the end of this era seems to be, on pace to be a lot more exciting than the beginning of it. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, and that is our review of Transformers number 39. So we will move on to Transformers Media News.
All right, in media news this week, we've got some e-hobby stuff that was announced this week, and they are doing official super deformed Transformers cards. And we've got Wave 2 images. I think, I don't know whether we talked about the Wave 1. I'm going to just bring it up.
I remember we did.
We did?
I think I remember something about this before.
Oh. Well, Wave 1 came out a few weeks ago, and the Wave 1 included Megatron, Optimus, and then the Beast Wars versions. The original Beast Wars versions, so not Optimus Primal or Beast Wars Megatron, but the like the Optimus Bat that he was, and then the Megatron Alligator, or I think it was Alligator, Crocodile, whatever. Yeah, so those ones. So those are the cards for Wave 1. Wave 2 though is coming out. And with these cards, you're going to get G2 Laser Optimus and G2 Megatron, Blaster and Soundwave, Bludgeon and Stranglehold, and Rodimus Prime and Galvatron. So these look really cool. Their art on them is like some chibi kind of art. It looks very cool. I don't know what kind of, like, if this is a game or something. I don't really.
I was just going to ask you this. Like, what's the point of this? Is it just a trading card?
It just looks like they're a game.
I think it's just collectibles.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I can only hope they come up with some horrible gum.
Yeah. So it's they're very cool looking. But it's one of those things that we really don't get over here in North America because eHobby's a Japanese company and they get all this cool little crazy stuff. So these they say that they're sold in pairs, and each pair is about $9 or 980 yen. And so yeah, they're not super expensive, but I guess if you're considering you only get 2 cards each, I wonder if they come in like blind packs or something, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's but yeah, whatever. They're kind of cool. But if you're in Japan, or if you have a Japanese connection, maybe you can let us know what the point of these cards is.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're blind packs on the eHobby website.
Oh, okay.
You can choose which ones you're buying.
Good. Okay. And the other thing we've got is a little bit of movie news, and that is that Transformers Rise of the Beasts, we all know about that. We've talked about it quite a bit. It's coming out in June of 2023. It's what is announced that it is the first in a new trilogy. So we will be getting a live action movie trilogy. Then we will also be getting a CGI animated theatrical movie that will hit movie theaters in 2024. So that is very cool. CGI animated movie is something that I think the fandom has been wanting for a long time. And especially after what they did in the Bumblebee movie. We were given proof that they could accomplish it, and now we are just hoping for them to do the right story. So yeah, that's very cool. We're very hopeful for what's to come. 2023. I'm personally, I'm a little disappointed that they pushed the movie back a year, but I think they're wanting everything to just kind of line up just right. But yeah, that's very cool. Very good news for Transformers media in the future. And I think, it won't be too long before we start hearing, rumors and more news about what the animated movie's about. But yeah, very cool. And animated stuff, we always get a lot more characters too. So cool. Very cool. Mike, you want to take us forward in movie news or TV stuff?
I would love to. So first thing we got is some concept art of Cyberverse Sludge by, and I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, but Eric Siebenaler? I'm going to go with that.
Siebenaler. Whatever. Okay.
We'll go with that. I'm going to call him Eric. So Eric posted a couple images on his Instagram account. He's a production designer who worked on Cyberverse, and he's got some neat concept art images of Sludge. Take a look at his Instagram page and oogle over the excellent art. Hopefully he'll be posting some more stuff that he's worked on. Next up on the Transformers YouTube channel, Transformers Prime Season 2 has started streaming. So we got episodes 1 and 2, so Orion Pax Part 1 and Orion Pax Part 2. We also have Orion Pax Part 3. So I lied, it's not just 2, it is 3 episodes available. And it looks like more will be coming soon. So hopefully the Transformers channel goes ahead and puts all of Transformers Prime up there because it is an excellent series that everyone should give a watch. Moving on, we have a release date for the Transformers BotBots show coming to Netflix. It is scheduled for March 25th. Not really much is known about plot lines, characters, much else. But we do have that release date, and the Boulder Media's Twitter has just brought the tweet down that announced it. So likely it was an early announcement. But yeah, so we got that announcement date for that. It's actually coming up a lot sooner than I had expected. I would have expected an announcement much earlier than this if it was going to be coming up this quickly.
They first announced it a year ago.
Well, true.
At least a year ago.
But I mean, like actual release dates.
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about it for a little while, but I mean, as far as I know, like no one has actually confirmed like it's going to be coming out, on X date. And yeah, I would have just imagined that it would have the announcement that we got for an actual date would have been 3 or 4 months down the line just to hype it up even more. If it truly is coming out on March 25th, that's like a month away. And it's like, hey, that's cool. I mean, they must be, effectively done with the series by now, or at least enough so that they could release some episodes.
This is editor Jeremy breaking in from the future. A couple days after we recorded this episode, they actually released the official Netflix BotBots series information. It is March 25th, as we were talking about. And the description here says, BotBots are Transformers robots that disguise themselves as everyday mall objects. By day, these BotBots hide quietly on store shelves, but at night they jump into adventure until a group of BotBots called the Lost Bots run into the mall security guard and put all the bots in danger. Will these misfits be able to overcome their differences, defeat the security guard, and gain acceptance in the eyes of the other bots? So that is the synopsis we have. And being Netflix, we will get all the episodes at once. So just wanted to share that information we got, and we will definitely be talking about this in the future. Now back to Mike in the past.
We have some news for Transfomers Earthspark and some production or some stills and a very short teaser. Now, this video teaser is interesting. It shows a couple of characters, some that we've come to know, and a couple of new ones in here, including this a white bot that I am not certain of the name of. I don't think the name has been announced yet, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I don't think there's any been actual announcement of the character name. But
yeah, we have gotten no names.
Yeah, okay. But the video that they posted out here shows a couple of things that, and we can talk about this for a few minutes because this is kind of interesting. So it shows that bot falling, and it looks like transforming into their alt mode. But I'm sorry, but their alt mode doesn't look anything like the bot mode at all. Is this just me, or is this something you guys noticed too?
I think that might be a different bot. I thought that at first too, but then like shortly after that, you see a motorcycle that does resemble that bot mode.
So what do you think is going on then with that white bot that turns into like a red hovercraft drone thingy?
I don't know. They gave us just so little to work with here. I mean, it's clearly in the title graphic here. We see a red and white bot, and that's probably the drone one.
Okay.
But no ideas on names and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point there, Jeremy, it's a really, really short video clip and some stills. So not a ton to really go off. But it is supposed to have a very strong human connection. So they're actually either living with or very close to a human family. On the video, there's a shot of, it looks like a kid like holding like a machine gun and kind of shooting that off. So that was an interesting shot. But yeah, like you said, there's just so little to work with. So we'll have to see probably wait and see to see what else we got going on with this. It's supposed to launch in the fall of this year. It's going to be 26 episodes. So hopefully we see a little bit more in the coming months, so we can really get a handle on what this is going to look like.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have any opinions about the BotBots or Earthspark announcements?
Well, the other thing, I mean, I mentioned it in the show intro. The Earthspark cartoon is being produced by Boulder Media, which is the Irish production company that also worked on Cyberverse, and they got friend of the show and longtime comics artist and writer Nick Roche to do some of the concept art for that show. So very cool to see Nick Roche getting that kind of additional work on Transformers Media.
Here.
As far as the concept of the show and stuff like that, it looks like it's fun. It looks like I mean, I'm not even aware if the show is still running or not, but it looks like a spiritual successor to the kids one, the Super Kids one that's going on.
Rescue Bots?
Rescue Bots
yeah,
Academy.
That's the one. I was thinking of the one. Which one's Academy? And then you said it, Rescue Bots. So looks like the spiritual successor to that. But is that still going on right now? Is that still on?
No, I think that's done.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what I would say. It looks like this is, this is not a new show that is going to be like a Transformers Prime or a Netflix War for Cybertron show or anything like that. This looks like a kid's show, which is fine. It's exactly what the fandom kind of needs, because we really don't have any kids in this fandom right now. But yeah, it looks like a kid's show.
Yeah. Between this and BotBots, my kid is really excited about watching these.
Yeah.
I'm curious though about the faction symbol on Optimus Prime and Elita 1 in that image. It's like
you and everybody
not
else.
about logo, but it has like a headdress, and that's really weird.
Hopefully that gets explained, because it is a strange symbol to see. I do tend to agree that I think these especially BotBots obviously, but the Earthspark show, it really does feel very kid friendly, very family friendly. But I keep coming back to that shot in the teaser where like the kid's running around with like a gun. At least I think it's supposed to be a kid.
I think it's supposed to be the kid's mother. It looks like she's wearing a uniform like the mother in the other image.
Interesting. Yeah, I keep coming back to that, and that seems to be an odd visual, considering that the other more kid-friendly shows, like the second Robots in Disguise series, for instance, like you didn't see anything like that. Even like the old Unicron trilogy stuff, like you didn't see especially in Armada, you didn't see like kids like running around, or anyone really running around with weapons. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Also, just in terms of like the visual look, it does feel very, very dim, very kind of dark. Visually, it looks a lot more like a Prime than it does like a Cyberverse or Robots in Disguise. So we'll see. We'll see when we get some more images and some more video for it. And yeah. All right, so the last thing I got is not quite a streaming or television news piece, but still an awesome one that I am looking forward to. Viz Media has announced a new art book, The Art and Making of Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. I absolutely love art books. I got a whole bunch from Transformers. So yeah, I am super looking forward to this. I will be picking it up, and it's supposed to come out in fall of this year. And yeah, so hopefully we see some images of some of the artwork that will be shown. Anyone thinking of picking up this book? Aside from me, that is.
I am tempted by it.
You should do it.
I mean, I have Viz Media's, the last one that they did. I can't remember what it was, but it was a really big, thick, well done book. So
the visual history one?
That one. Yeah.
That's a huge book.
So if it's in that quality, then it's going to be a great book.
I can get behind that.
This is done by Mike Avila.
I was just going to say, yep. Yeah. Mike Avila, and introductions by FJ. So.
Oh, okay. Neat.
Maybe we can get FJ back on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You can be upset at me again.
I'm not generally interested in art books, so
no,
pretty much a skip for me.
That's fair.
The books I buy, I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then I put it on the shelf, and it sits there forever.
I understand that. Just like the toys.
I do stuff with the toys. I don't think I honestly don't think what was the Legacy one that came out? I don't even know if I've even opened that.
All right. Well, either way, this looks to be, at least for me, a super interesting piece to pick up. So, yeah, look forward to that. And that is it for media news.
Can I add one thing in media news that probably should have gone into the comic news?
Are we going to go off script here, Jeremy?
We're going to go off script for a second.
Oh, man. Let's do it.
And since I'm editing this episode, it's fine. The big change with Comixology happened last week. And if you are using Comixology, you noticed it because you are forced now to use the updated version of the app. You can no longer read comics on the website. It's, in my opinion, a much more horrible experience than it ever was before. And I'm just completely disgusted with the interface. and the app, at least on my iPad, is a glorified version of the Kindle app. And it's just, if anyone else has any experiences, I'd like to hear them. But at least you still can go and download the backups of your previous books that support backups, which are all the IDW stuff. But any new comics as of last week's new comic day are not eligible for backups. So be aware of that. You know, if you want to cancel your subscriptions because of that, do it. I would make it known on Twitter. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that in there because I forgot to mention it last week that it was coming, and now it has happened.
That is super unfortunate. Not entirely unexpected, though, considering that Amazon bought them.
Well, Amazon's owned them for years. And yeah, as an Amazon stockholder, I'm very pissed as well.
But I didn't they
don't know that much.
Change their partnership or something, or announce that they were taking a more heavy-handed management or something of them?
No, I mean, well, they've owned them outright. I think they've just pulled away resources like the guided view. From what I've read, it used to be Comixology in-house staff that did that, and now it's up to the publishers. Which, if you're a smaller publisher, you probably don't have the money to finance that. For a DC and a Marvel, it's no problem. And it was just they're putting all their money into the Kindle side of things, and they want to sell graphic novels and things like that. One real irritation to me is there is no way to find a list of the comic book publishers. There used to be on the Comixology site. You could just go to publishers, find the publisher you want, and you see everything that they've put out. It's impossible now. You can find individual creators or book titles. You cannot go to like IDW and see all of their books, or at least I haven't found that yet, and I've looked hard.
That's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Bad day for Comixology users, I guess.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is it then for media news. Charles, why don't you take us home?
All right, we'll finish up the show with convention news.
All right. As we have been doing over the last few weeks, we got a lot of TFCon LA news. They have announced that Frank Todaro, who is the voice of Starscream and Rat Trap in the War for Cybertron trilogy, he will be attending. Also, Jason Marnosha, who is the voice of Megatron and Galvatron in the War for Cybertron trilogy. And he was also one of the only good points of the Machinima Transformers series as the sassy Megatron. So he will be attending. Eric Balza, who was the voice of Drift in the 2015 Robots in the Sky series. And Joe Ziza, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, it's Zieja, who was the voice of Bumblebee in the War for Cybertron trilogy. Joe Hernandez, who was the voice of Cheetor in the War for Cybertron trilogy. And Lex Lang, who is the voices of Tow-Line in the underappreciated Transformers Robots in the Skies from 2001. And he's also Dr. Neo Cortex in Crash Bandicoot. They're taking full advantage of being local to all these voice actors. And if I remember right, the last TFCon LA, it's not that these people were there all weekend. There's probably going to be just windows where they're going to be available there. So pay attention to when the schedule comes out. Make sure that you know when the people you want to see are going to be, doing autographs or panels or whatever, just so you get a chance to see who you want to see. And that is all we have for convention news this week.
Seems like it's going to be more more guests than attendees.
I don't know. I think they got a lot of outside the fandom guests at the last one. I think LA is just, there's just so many people there that just are, they'll see a convention and go.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Mike, thanks again for joining us this week. And why don't you tell everyone where they can find all your awesome stuff online?
Well, thanks. I always love being here and contributing to the show. You can find myself and my friends over at transmissionspodcast.com/rust for Empire of Rust, the one and only Transformers RPG podcast. And if you are interested in toy photography at all, feel free to give me a follow on Instagram. That's MINERVION. It's Minervian on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So all the platforms, same place.
All right. And of course, we end the show by giving a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support this show at our highest level. We really appreciate that. So thank you to John 4X Levengood, Dinobot Maximize, Demon Tech 82, and Curtis Akan. And that's it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.